Welcome to Spiritual Straight Talk, where it's all about enhancing your spiritual walk through life, with host Suzanne Thibault, animal communicator and spiritual life coach. Listen in and discover inspiration for living a divinely inspired life. And now, your host, Suzanne Thibault.
Welcome to episode 86 of Spiritual Straight Talk. Hi, I'm your host, Suzanne Thibault. Today we're talking rising into the light. Sometimes as we travel along our journey in life, we hit a speed bump that asks us to slow down. Other times we might hit a pothole in the road that causes problems and stops you in your tracks. This is what happened to me on October 19th, 2021. My husband and I were visiting Lake Tahoe, California, to go hiking. Our first morning, we awoke to snow falling, and that canceled our hiking plans for that day. But we still enjoyed the beauty that surrounded us. The next day was sunny, so we decided to hike the Summit Lake View Trail on the Nevada side of Tahoe. This trail was a paved asphalt road, so it was easy to hike. It was an uphill climb to the top where you could partake of beautiful scenery and lake views at the site of a former fire outlook station. It was beautiful weather, beautiful views, and very enjoyable. On the way down, I was appreciating the beautiful outdoors. I was walking happily along down that asphalt road, watching the birds, breathing in the fresh air, and gazing at the lake. And suddenly I stepped into a deep pothole in the road. My right ankle rolled outward to the right, causing me to lose balance. I fell to the ground to the left on my outstretched hand. As I was falling, it felt almost like it was happening in slow motion, and I found myself powerless to stop the fall. I felt pain in my foot and my wrist as I sat dazed on the ground. Now, my husband was walking near me, and he managed to avoid this pothole, and he was surprised to see me fall. For him, it happened very quickly, like he couldn't even reach out to grab my arm to try to stop my falling. For him, it happened so quickly. But he did avoid the pothole himself, which was good. But he came over to help me stand up. I gingerly stood up and was able to walk down the hill. We drove to get some lunch, and I noticed the bruising was beginning on my wrist. We stopped at a grocery store and bought a wrist brace. My foot seemed okay, so I kept walking on it. The next day, my wrist and foot were purple and swollen. So we drove home, and I went to urgent care. After many weeks of x-rays and MRI results, a podiatrist and an orthopedist eventually saw 2 non-displaced fractures in my wrist and 2 non-displaced fractures in my right foot. I was placed in a short wrist cast and a walking cast. This was super duper hard for me as I consider myself an active person. I exercise, I walk our dogs each day, and I enjoy outdoor activities. Suddenly I had to sit on my butt in utter boredom. The hardest part of life, coming to a halt for me, was having to ask for help. I suddenly could not do simple things like tie my shoe or wash the dishes. This proved to be my biggest struggle, and I realized this was a life lesson in progress. I've always been a strong, independent woman who got things done around the house. Being laid up, I was forced to give that up, ask for help, and watch my husband doing everything. He truly is my superhero because he picked up the slack where I had to stop for a while. With a cast on my wrist, I could not type either. Another area that suddenly stopped was the launch of my newest book, Tales from the Heart. It was scheduled to launch on Amazon on November 15th. Frustration and despair overtook me like a wall standing in the way. When you attempt to accomplish any project and hit a pothole, it can leave you feeling like you've hit a wall. I have learned over time to face everything and rise. I closed my eyes and said a silent prayer asking for truth. God's grace and mercy were shining brightly as He showed me that I was held in His arms of love. There was no wall in my vision, only bright light shining upon me. I let go of the fake wall I thought was standing in my way and walked through it onto the other side into my truth. This pothole was a gift of extra time, extra rest and recovery for something greater to emerge. When God guides, He always provides. He provided the gift of my husband and his house management skills to pick up the slack with a happy, smiling attitude. He provided prayers from my friends to heal, and He provided the healing of my bones. And I believe I received a miracle from God. I have osteoporosis, having thin bones that can fracture easily. All of these 4 fractures were non-displaced. That is highly unusual for osteoporosis bones that usually will shatter when they get fractured. I am eternally grateful for God's blessings and all the prayer warriors who had my back. I truly, truly feel and know that I am loved. Potholes can happen in life, but it doesn't mean things you're trying to accomplish end. It means you're taking a slight detour towards something better. I learned the importance of slowing down, asking for help, that rest is a form of self-care, and rest provides rejuvenation. And I have a loving relationship with Christ who still performs miracles. I'm happy to report the cast is off. My wrist is healing just fine. My foot is taking a little longer, and I will know more about that after Christmas when I do a second MRI. Now, Tales from the Heart is still moving forward, and it will be arriving on Amazon in January 2022. We're going to start off the new year with pet relationship love stories. So when I look at this picture of everything that I've just journeyed through, I can see the renewal, that I'm being restored and rebalanced by love. Now, I just have to remember to pay attention to where I'm walking. This holiday season, I wish you and your family well. Hugs to your pets and happiness in your heart. May the light of love shine upon you and your family, and may your life be filled with the bright blessings that come with this holiday season. Merry Christmas!
Thank you for listening to Spiritual Straight Talk with Suzanne Thibault. If you enjoyed this episode, tell a friend and subscribe on iTunes or Spotify. To connect with Suzanne, visit www.suzannethibault.net. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for listening.